I just learned something about the beauty manufacturing side of things, and I want to share with you because I think this helps to kind of paint the picture of what I mean by beauty counters going above and beyond what other companies do to ensure your safety as a consumer. We just recently launched lip liners, and in part of that manufacturing process, something that came about was other companies' use of talc. And you might know, Beauty Counter, we don't use talc in our formulas. Talc is not the actual harmful ingredient. Talc is safe, but it is mined where asbestos is usually present. So most talcs does have asbestos in it, at least traces, if not significant amounts. Hence the problem with baby powder companies having asbestos in them over and over, and over again. And what happens is asbestos is tiny, so you can't see it under a regular microscope. Well, years ago, the cosmetics industry said, don't worry, we're gonna test for talc. We're gonna ensure that our products don't have talc. This is Johnson & Johnson. They helped to create the Personal Care Products Council. And we're gonna self-regulate, don't worry FDA, we're gonna make sure everything's safe. So they would take their talc and they would test it. And the way they would test it is they would take about the equivalent batch of what would be in like a semi, like a diesel truck on the highway. And they would take a teaspoon out of it and they would analyze that teaspoon. And the magnifying glass that they would analyze it with was only a certain magnification, which is physically impossible to see talc under. Talc has to be like 100 times stronger, or not talc, asbestos. The magnifying glass has to be like 100 times stronger than what is normally used to be able to see it. It's that tiny. They knew this, but they used the normal X. Let's say it has to be 100X. They used 10X. So of course they don't see asbestos in it. They cannot physically see asbestos in it, even when it's there. But they tested it under their parameters, deemed it safe. That is a normal practice, y'all. Okay, so asbestos, talc, usually hand in hand, right? Beauty Counter would buy certified asbestos-free talc and then make sure to post-production test it with the right equipment to actually make sure it wasn't there. Okay, that's background on Beauty Counter. So when we would use talc when we first started, we went to those efforts to make sure it was safe. Well then, as time went by and more talc lawsuits came about and more people were getting lung diseases and mesothelioma and just like things that are completely related to powdery, also makeup, y'all, not just baby powder, any type of powder cosmetics. Guess what? You breathe it in. Kids breathe it in. Little kids slathering it all over, breathing it in, getting exposed to these really harmful ingredients. So Beauty Counter's like, you know what? Here to set a new bar. No talc, period, in our products. Even though the talc we use is safe, we want to show to the beauty industry you don't have to use talc. Hence, cream eyeshadows, cream blushes to show you don't have to use talc. Well, you might be thinking, Audrey, I thought you were going to tell me about lip liner. Lip liner doesn't use talc, right? Correct. But when they're manufacturing the lip liner in the conveyor belt, like in the manufacturing, they're putting out the lip liner down the belt, right? Guess what a normal practice is to make sure that the products don't stick? They sprinkle talc on the belt. So that way, as the products, if it's like a little bit melty, it won't stick onto the belt or won't stick onto each other. So they're sprinkling talc onto the product. It's on the product. It's in the box. It's present. Beauty Counter said, no, we don't do that. We don't use talc. You're going to have to stop it. And they're like, no, you don't understand. This is what we do. Like, it's a non-negotiable. And also, don't worry, you don't have to put it on the ingredient label. No, hell no. We're not going to we're all about being transparent. We put everything on the ingredient label. We're not trying to trick people. Thank you very much, beauty industry. So finally they gave in and said, okay, fine. We won't use the talc. Gosh, Beauty Counter with their standards. And so this is an example of how we are changing the beauty industry, not just by selling you really safe, high-performing products, okay? Because, yeah, I love to get people safer swaps, right? Safer product, not sacrificing your health, not sacrificing your beauty, that are still high-performing. But us making us think about that by the manufacturing organization that we partnered with, being like, damn, it made them think twice, right? People that work manufacturing are like, what? They're all thinking about it because it's setting a new standard. No one else has ever pushed back. No one else cared. We care. So there are many stories like that. And I think I tell these in the educationals, I tell these story, peer to peer, but you know what? I need to tell you because I'm not doing you justice by assuming that you're going to read my mind and understand what I say when I say we're changing things up. We're raising the bar. We're doing better. We are better beauty. That's what I mean. It goes beyond our ingredient list. It's not only what we don't put in it, it's what we do put in it. It's how accessible we make the information. It's how we share, and it's how we go to bat for consumers, for manufacturers, for anybody that touches us. Because here's the other thing. That talc being sprinkled on that conveyor belt all day long, I'm sorry, the people that work in there, that's not safe for them either. And Beauty Counter wants to make sure that anybody that they touch, not just their consumers, their employees, the manufacturing, the farmer that grows the vanilla that we use, the people that make the glass bottles, we want to make sure that every company that we partner with is ethical, is treating the planet and treating people right. By right, we mean not harming their health either. That's my story. Thanks for listening. Don't use talc, okay? Don't use it.